Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Monday, January 20th, 2014. Our first news article for the day is from America's Freedom Fighters. Obama to pave way for 30,000 Syrian Islamists to resettle in America. Typically, I'm not that interested in stories like this. However, I believe that this is almost an open invitation to Al-Qaeda, that we have potential to have a true problem with Al-Qaeda in this country if these 30,000 Syrian Islamists are brought to resettle in America. And in light of that, I have a couple articles just about increasing danger. And last week, Alex Jones was talking a lot about plans to kill people who are becoming awake and aware and effective. And it's not an actual plan, it was proposed. And Alex has also been talking about having a sense of dread, that something is coming. Well, I'm proposing that it already has come. Some of the toxins that have been released, the radioactivity. And I found some things in this article from the Washington Post very interesting. 1 week after West Virginia toxic spill, new owner of Freedom Industries puts firm in bankruptcy. And this is a pretty cynical, pretty accurate, in-depth article from the Washington Post. And I'm wondering, just so they're filing bankruptcy, which triggered in my mind the memory of the movie The Rainmaker, which is about a lawyer who forces a health insurance company, a bogus health insurance company, to pay out. In fact, that he helps some bereaved parents sue the health insurance company, and when they win, millions and millions are awarded that by the jury. The company just packs up and disappears, and of course the CEO and some of the higher ranking officers of the company take a lot of the money with them. And it just reminded me, reading this article made me think about that. It kind of sounds like this, and I almost wonder whether these toxins were released intentionally. And then even if they weren't, let's face it, the devil has plans, right? And his plan is to kill, steal, and destroy. But there's some interesting aspects to this story that comes out in this article. One is that these toxins are a part of the process of coal mining. And of course, Don and I were talking on Saturday about how there is a move to shut down coal plants. This just gives coal mining even more of a bad name. It makes people more angry toward the industry, when really this is just kind of a fringe aspect of that industry. And I hope you'll take a minute to read this article, at least skim it, because it's very interesting, and there are just some points here that can stir a lot of thought. And of course, it's in the Washington Post, so if you talk about it to somebody, you can have a reference that they will accept. Here from Atlanta Progressive News is an article, Radioactive Plume in South Carolina leaking into Savannah River. And I noticed this because Cynthia McKinney posted it on Facebook. And the plume is traveling in the groundwater southwest toward the Savannah Riverside. Traces of tritium have also been found in Mary Branch Creek. And this is just another example of toxins being released. And I do believe this is an effort, a push to make many people sick and kill some people off, and just generally weaken our country. And if you notice where these have been released, it's kind of close to or in the Bible Belt, and where people tend to, believe in God, guns, and guts, which those tend to be the kind of people who have the ability to resist tyranny. So I'm watching these things develop, and at the same time, you think, well, my goodness, we know some things. Brown's gas can be used to eliminate toxic waste, but only when it's accumulated in a specific place. How do you can't just burn off some things and leave other things behind. And of course, Brown's gas does, in a sense, burns things off. It can't discriminate between the good things that you want to leave behind, like soil and water, and the bad things that you want to get rid of, like the toxic waste. So how is it possible to get rid of toxic waste once it becomes a part of the ecosystem? Well, hemp and the decontamination of radioactive soil. And this article is about the Chernobyl Phytoremediation Project. And for over a decade, industrial hemp growing in the environs of the abandoned Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Pripyat, Ukraine, has been helping to reduce soil toxicity. Now the Japanese are considering following the same course in order to rectify the environmental damage caused by the Fukushima meltdown. And they are having difficulty growing hemp in Japan because of their laws, but hopefully these laws that are really restricting trade as far as substances like hempcrete and hemp fibers for rope and clothing, hopefully we'll be able to overturn these laws quickly, and especially in places where the soil really needs to be detoxified. And I'm also aware that Paulownia trees can detoxify soil, but I don't have any knowledge about whether they can decontaminate radioactive soil, which is this is huge in my way of thinking. This is very significant and certainly very helpful. I'm mentioning Benjamin Fulford's blog because it happened to be out in time for me to include it in today's video. And it is an interesting one. Systemic takedown of cabal accelerates with Vatican bank purge, mass resignations, mass firings, etc., etc. It certainly seems as if some of the things that Fulford has been stating for a long time were going to happen are beginning to happen. One topic that Benjamin Fulford has been mentioning for a long time is the German gold, the fact that the German gold is gone, and where is the gold in the world, and on and on. Fulford claims to know a lot about that and is trying to find out even more, but Glenn Beck has brought this story into the mainstream. Glenn Beck takes gold rehypothecation story mainstream. German gold is gone. And I see this as a positive because a lot of people who are just kind of on the edge of becoming freedom fighters listen to Glenn Beck, and the fact that he has made this public on a broader scale of his listeners is helpful. And I think that more people will become aware of what is really going on behind the scenes and how the banks have really been controlling everything. And from Karen Hudes, The Network of Power, this is a more recent video that she made to explain some things that are going on. This video has some very interesting. Not completely new, but she pulls some ideas together, and I found it helpful listening to this video. And staying in the financial aspect of what is going on, from Real Currencies, this is a very interesting article about Bitcoin. Bitcoin paving the way for a global cashless society. And the cabal seem to have a knack for anticipating where people are going, what people are willing to accept, and they of course use that to move down the road ahead of us a little bit and set up diversions so that we take wrong turns. And Bitcoin in many ways seems that it's possible that that's what Bitcoin is. And here of course we have Smeagol with a Bitcoin as if it were the Ring of Power saying, "My precious." And the first paragraph here, after 5 years of Bitcoin, the verdict is out. It is a free market globalist dream, paving the way for a global cashless currency. So certainly some cautions here. And just in thinking about Bitcoin, Alex Jones has always been cautious. And whenever Max Keiser is a guest on Alex Jones, what he really wants to do is hype Bitcoin. And I'm not completely convinced that Bitcoin is not positive. I think peer-to-peer currency has potential to be a good thing. It just depends on who holds the purse strings and how it's controlled. But considering the fact that Max Keiser has long been an advocate of Bitcoin, of course he's invested, so that's helpful. But looking a little more deeply into who Max Keiser is, and I've been a big fan, but my husband happened to mention this to me, that Max Keiser believes in global warming. And I just wasn't aware of this. Somehow this escaped my notice. But this was from actually July of 2011. And it's a comment in a Prison Planet forum about the fact that Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert believe in global warming. So this is a pretty big gap. I mean, it's like somebody who says that they're a truther and they don't believe in 9/11. I'm not sure exactly what the issue is here with Max, but I think this is problematic. I'm not saying that it absolutely brands him as a fake or a diversion, but certainly if we're looking at Bitcoin and we tend to accept Bitcoin because of Max Keiser, we may want to take another look and reconsider. And for some general information about the Illuminati and how it functions is an article from Mercy Triumphs by Fritz Springmeier, More Info on the Illuminati Hierarchy. And this has to do with a family in Belgium. And at one point in this article, Fritz states that at a certain point in Belgium, there were whistleblowers. Truth was beginning to come out. I think it was in the late 90s. And 120 whistleblowers were killed to prevent the information from coming out fully. So this is just a reminder of the kind of people that we're dealing with and that we're making an effort to resist. And we need to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. And we need to be steadfast and persevere. And fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Moving into good news from Natural News, Swiss companies announce development of NSA Proof Smartphone. And you probably heard about this over the weekend because a lot of people were talking about this. A couple of Swiss-based firms, Silent Circle and Geeks Phone, in a joint venture have developed a yet-to-be-released smartphone that aims to put privacy in your hands, protecting you from anyone wanting to snoop into your private data. Even the NSA, says a write-up by Mashable. And the phone is called the Black Phone. It's part of a project backed by a number of important figures in the field of computer security. That list includes Phil Zimmermann, creator of the data encryption protocol PGP. Remember that. So this is a priority for a lot of people, even people who aren't concerned about many of the things that we're concerned about. They just don't want the NSA. They don't want anybody knowing everything that they say and text and view online. So this is a great development. And pertaining to developing a state of Jefferson, here's a YouTube video. It's long. I have not listened to it yet, but a friend recommended it to me. Jefferson Republic Initiative Petition County Referendum, 14th of January 2014. So they're moving this ball down the field of trying to develop a Republic of Jefferson. So we'll definitely be watching that. And I'm ending today. This is not precisely good news. It's just having to do with the wonder of life and honoring life. 12 unborn animals in the womb you have to see to believe. I don't, and this is of course from a very pro-life group, and I don't talk often about the issue of abortion. Quite honestly, the issue of abortion is the thing that got me interested in politics as a very young woman. And I was for many years a one-issue voter. I only would vote for pro-life candidates. Then I realized that they knew there were people like me out there, and they were simply lying and saying that they were pro-life. So I kind of gave up on that. But just to honor the wonder of life, I'm including these images, and they are different baby animals in the womb, and there are 12 of them, and they are very distinctly them. They're obviously not just a cluster of cells. So that's kind of uplifting and awe-inspiring, just to see how life develops in the womb, and sometimes in eggs. I'm sure this snake, I'm pretty sure, was in an egg, and all life is unique. Every single person is unique. We're like snowflakes. There aren't any two that are the same. So just to remember how amazing creation is, we can understand why evil hates life so much, because it can't create life. It can only distort it through GMOs. Life is simply amazing and filled with wonder. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, happy Martin Luther King Day, and insist on liberty.